This is Miss Lizzie, and I want to welcome you to the Queen Lizzie podcast. Together, we will go through the history of Rosewood, Florida, and watch as the once prosperous town rises out of the bloodshed, fire, and ash to reveal the people, the memory, and the legacy of Rosewood. Watch every Thursday on Facebook and YouTube, or listen to our story on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lizzie Robinson Jenkins, representing not only the Rosewood Foundation, but the personal testimonies and history of cherished friends and family. You are now watching the Queen Lizzie podcast. Today, we are talking with Cal Burlock.
Hello, how are you, Queen Lizzie? So glad to join you today.
Wonderful. I am fine and glad to be in the position to invite you to my podcast. And what I'm going to do today, I'm going to give you a brief history, my audience, a brief history of Rosewood. And I'm going to tell them all over again. My name is Lizzie Robinson Jenkins. I am a retired educator and CEO, founder of the Real Rosewood Foundation Incorporated, established 2003 in Archer, Florida, Alachua County, 37 miles east of Rosewood, Florida, Levy County, which was a thriving Black community nestled in the heart of the Sunshine State, where all the sawmill workers, farmers, and turpentine employees worked as one. No one was rich, but they lived and worked together respectfully back then during the Jim Crow days. It was a place where families' dreams took root. However, tragedy struck when a false accusation ignited a wave of violence and hatred that forever changed the course of Rosewood history. Fannie Taylor, a stay-at-home mom from Sumner, falsely accused the Black man, my uncle, of assaulting her. This allegation ignited a spark of racial tension that quickly engulfed the entire region. It is and has been my life journey to research Rosewood, authenticate Rosewood, preserve and tell this piece of history for peace sake, seeking justice, truth, and reconciliation for the next generation. Rumors spread like wildfire. A violent mob of white supremacists descended upon Rosewood from Gainesville, Alachua County, seeking vengeance for the alleged assault. Homes were looted, burned, and 7 innocent lives were tragically lost. The rampage continued for days. Men, women, and children were forced to flee for their lives, seeking shelter in nearby swamps. Within the chaos, the Rosewood residents fought fearlessly to protect their families and their cherished community. With tremendous courage and resilience, they resisted the violence, doing everything in their power to survive and preserve their dignity. The events of Rosewood serve as a haunting reminder of the atrocity fueled by racial hatred, and they underscore the urgent need for education, empathy, and justice in our society today. Our mission is dedicated to preserving the history of Rosewood through research, education, and public programs. As commissioned by my mother, the sister of the Rosewood school teacher from 1915 to 1923, a survivor who never forgot or never forgave the KKK men that gang raped her, leaving her for dead. Mom's words of courage: research, authenticate, and preserve Rosewood history forever. I got this, Mom. Our vision endeavors to empower humanity by exploring the Rosewood journey and legacy to develop a better future for all. The Rosewood Foundation Inc. endeavors to empower humanity by exploring the Rosewood journey and legacy to develop a better future for all. Today, y'all, I have invited a special guest that I met a week ago in Jacksonville, Florida, from Atlanta, Georgia, at the Asala Conference. And by the way, it was the 108th Asala Conference. Asala stands for Association for the Study of African American Life and History. Good afternoon, Mr. Cal Burlock, and welcome to
Good.
Queen Lizzie Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I could not be more overjoyed than to join you and your legacy of preserving the history of Rosewood. It's so important that the story of the people be told who inhabited the land, who inhabited the area, and what better representative is than you, Queen Lizzie, to have an actual descendant and relative to tell us about their lives and the beauty that they created before the massacre. So thank you for having me.
You are welcome, and I am excited to have you. I am excited you agreed to come on and be a participant on my show. We attended several workshops. That's the best. That was one of the best conference I have ever attended.
Yes.
Many positive workshops concurrently. Okay,
Yes.
and I was not able to attend your workshop, but we were in one workshop together. If you remember, I
Yes.
heard a voice, and that voice said, "App, voting app," something to that effect. And I said, "Now I got to follow this young man. I got to get his information." You gave me your
Absolutely.
information. Okay. And I followed you to your workshop. And what I want you to do today is just share with us about the app you were talking about. I didn't understand
Yes.
it fully.
Sure. Well, it's a joy here to talk about the CEO app. You'll understand as a former educator, Queen Lizzie, and those of us who are educators or historians or who are in the business of preserving and teaching the truth, that there's a need to always communicate this truth to a new generation, to a
Mhm,
younger demographic, and to the wider world. An app is a new media format that everyone uses, from young to old, despite your geography, despite your religion, despite your class or culture or ideology. Everyone uses apps. And just like MLK did in the 60s, he leveraged the fact that television wasn't just about every home. By 1960, every home in America had at least one TV. If it were not for that new media
mhm,
application, the civil rights period as we know it would not have occurred. So in 2023, I am bringing forth this app that allows you to create transparency and accountability with your elected officials and the corporations that you do business with. The idea being that if we can be in observance of who is handling our policy decisions, as well as who is spending the either tax money or our spent dollars, then we can have more power and more involvement in our livelihoods and the direction of the community. Part of the reason that people are deciding not to vote, and I might add that black vote has dropped nearly 11% from 2018 to 2022. One of the reasons that is because there's a lot of misinformation that's out
mhm.
there that turns people off. There's a sense of powerlessness in the black community as it relates to who leads us. So this app makes it very easy to pass on civic education, to curate conversations, as well as give you a very good critical analysis of those who are in power in the corporations that you may be spending money with. So, and I don't want to get long-winded, but I'll give you an example.
No, no,
When you
go.
walk into a store, the app will geolocate and actually ask you, would you like to see the report card for Target? In that report card, it will look at 10 different grades covering a full platform of Black progress, things like economic development, law enforcement reform, education, healthcare parity, reparative justice, things like that. It's a list of 10, and you should look at those 10 as classes, and that corporation target will get a grade across those 10 issues very quickly. So you're able to just put in as a user, you put in your name, Your home screen comes up with all of your officials with their report cards. There's the corporations tab, so you get a very clear picture of who is working for your community and who is not. No longer do I want people to walk into the ballot box and just vote the two names that you see on TV and then leave everything else blank. There are a lot of folks that walk out and say, I don't know those names, so I'm not going to give my vote for or against them. And that's a stance of powerlessness. So what we want is to give power to the people and engage them in their own lives and make them understand that they are powerful. I mean, we have a lot to be thankful for in this country, despite some of the horrible history. I'd still rather have the fights that we have here in America than other countries. At least we've got a
Yes.
democratic, history and environment and tools with which we can, carve out a better future for ourselves.
Mhm. Absolutely. And now with this app, when my nieces nephews called me and said, Auntie, I need to vote, tell me who to vote for. And it sounds like your app may be able to assist in
Yes,
helping them
yes,
to
absolutely.
select because they want, oh, send me the ballot and take a picture, okay, on your phone and
Yes.
send it to me so that I can take the picture in the
Yeah.
ballot box with me.
You make such a powerful point. Young folks want to be powerful. They want to be as powerful as the civil rights leaders that they hear about in their textbooks, right? They want to engage today and make life better, and they really have a heart for that. So let's create tools that allow them to do that, so they can very quickly and in one place. I mean, there are voter guides here, there are analyses all over the internet, but no one has brought them together in a very easy app that resides right on your phone that you can access anywhere in the world and very quickly get an analysis of all of those candidates plus the companies. And then the other part of it is not the analysis is one side. The really special side is the feedback loop that we provide to those candidates and to those corporations so that when I see a bad grade on a candidate, I can press a button very easily and call that person's office or email that person or call the local press about that person and make a canned statement. The statement's already written. They just have to choose it and drop it into the box and go. So imagine if you have, 500,000 users of an app. All right, there's some apps out here
Mhm.
with many more users than that. Just say 500,000 users, and you're able to
Absolutely.
target local issues and then activate a power of 20, 50,000 app users who are actually emailing that local official or that national official or that company. You got movement at that point. So that's what I want to. That's what I'm trying to bring to the people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It sounds great.
Yes.
And I want to
Yes.
know how can we help you get the message
Sure.
out? What's my
Sure.
assignment?
Absolutely.
After when
So
this is over, what do you want me to do?
absolutely. Well, we're trying to send people to our information about the app. I've put a couple addresses here in the background
Okay.
that the people can reach us. The CEO app info is just a short YouTube video about 4 minutes long. It just goes over what the app involves, kind of try to explain what it does. The second address is actually the mock app itself. So right now the app is in prototype status. It's not fully ready to go. However, and this is the most important thing, and this is the assignment for everyone, we want to enter and be ready for February 5th Iowa caucuses, right, in 2024. We've got a primary season of 2024 that starts February 5th with the Iowa caucuses. Our plan is to have version one of this application done in Q4. So the clock is on us for sure. We're trying to raise support and attention. We're going to partner with folks like yourself, other influencers, to get the word out to our culture. We've got some folks in music and hip hop culture who are waiting for the app to be finished so that they can fully get behind it and promote it amongst the youth. And so my sweat, my concern is to get the app finished, and that's going to take a little bit of of raising some support in order to get that done. And we can have this version app ready for this election. It will make an impact and influence. It'll be not only influential in the primary election, but in the general come next November,
Yes.
and then for every election forward. And all we're going to do every time is enhance the features, make it more attractive. I'll
Hmm.
mention that there's another side of this that works with colleges. We are going to take the grading off of the brain of this guy. Of course, I'm an educator, I'm a historian, a scientist, and a tech executive. We're going to take the grading of these candidates and corporations and put it at Morehouse and Spelman. They're already ready to go. Our students will actually do it. Now, think about that impact. Students 18 to 22 will actually be
Yes.
doing the research program and tagging all the grades with the works cited so that every grade is backed up. Young folks themselves will be brought into doing the grading, and they will be advising us on how to speak to their peers, right? Because what we
Okay.
need is we need all hands on deck, right? There are 33 million, nearly 33 million eligible black voters, and maybe 14 million, if that, participate. We can change the
Really?
world if we can add a couple million. Yes, absolutely. So that's why I'm wanting to connect with we're nonpartisan, but we know that right now the Democratic Party is in a clinch fight with an authoritarian party. So
Yes.
even though we're nonpartisan, we're Democrat today in 2023.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yes. Yes.
absolutely.
I like that. I like that, especially involving the kids. They are geniuses. And we were there at the meeting and we met the former president of Spelman, Janetta Cole. I was glad to hear you say that they are going to be participating at Spelman. Did you say Morehouse?
Morehouse and
You,
Spelman, yes. I've already
yes.
talked with the leadership there, and they'll
Okay.
hopefully be running the pilot. So they're waiting for a finished app, though. That's what everybody's waiting on,
Okay.
for the app to be finished. Yep.
Okay, that's about
And
time for our first half. We are going to head to a quick break and we'll be back right after a word from our sponsors.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, two things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
and our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
I am Black History.
I am Rosewood Black History.
I am Florida and America's Black
History,
History.
and you are too.
January 1st, 1923, the KKK insurrectionists attacked Rosewood, killing 5, burning it down.
Because a white woman lied and cried, a black man assaulted me. Rosewood redevelopment is on its way.
Want to help? Visit rosewoodflorida.com.
Okay. Welcome back to Queen Lizzie Podcast, brought to you weekly from the Steve Spurrier Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We are here with Cal Burlock. The Queen Lizzie Podcast is brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union, live from the Meldon Law Gator Studios at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Special thanks to Greg Bradley, Allstate Insurance. Okay, we are back. And I want you to tell me, you were telling me in Jacksonville that someone is in Facebook. You didn't say they spammed Facebook, but you did say they put together and sent out false information and made it seem like it was from another country. That was very interesting, but
absolutely.
I can't repeat it. So will you share that with
Absolutely.
me?
I'm so glad you brought that up because this really has to do with Florida. So basically what happened, it was a plot that's well known. It's already printed by the intelligence community within the United States. So there was a troll farm in Moscow named Fancy Bear. Fancy Bear was created to help Donald Trump in the run up to the 2016 election. Cambridge Analytica is a private company owned by the Mercers, who are big right-wing funders and activists. They purchased 30 million Facebook accounts from Facebook and then used that data of who those people are, what they like, what they dislike, who they talk to define a strategy for how to keep those people at home. 700,000 folks were targeted in the state of Florida. Today, Florida is still reeling from the impact of that. meaning
Mhm.
that to those 700,000 people that were targeted to stay home, the Republican Party said, look, if these people come out to vote, they're not going to vote for us. So our target is just to keep them at home. Just keep them at home.
Mhm.
So they seeded messages into the Facebook accounts that you're reading. It seems quite organic, but it was very planned. And those messages said stuff like right wing, left wing of the same bird. Democrats and Republicans are exactly the same. You're a fool for even participating, right? So for an average black person who's, unschooled in these things, they may say, well, I'll just stay home because they're all the same. It's all a white
Mhm.
person's game that they're using to trick us. And so that was seeded into our people. Literally, hatred for Hillary Clinton, saying that the Democrats have been in control of cities like Chicago and New York and LA for years, and look at the crime rates, right? Not even mentioning that, yeah, they may be a Democratic city, but they're in a Republican state and they don't have carte blanche to do anything that they want, right? So it's both Democrats and Republicans who bear fault for anything that occurs, and then outside the parties, we the people bear fault for how our nation proceeds. Another thing that was very interesting is that they seeded anti-vaccination, and this was before the pandemic. This is 2015. And so this is known. You can literally go and read the intelligence report on it. So what Cambridge Analytica did is take that data, give it over
Mhm.
to the Russian troll farm, which shot those messages into Facebook. That's another area where the app is extremely important because you can curate the conversation. What I mean by that is we take it off of an area that can be infused with bots, right? You can program a bot just to send a message into Facebook and it'll do the work for you. You don't even have to be sitting there typing. So there are bots that people are talking to on Facebook, arguing over politics with, and it's just a bot. That's all it is. In an app that's curated, that's run by folks who are of the lineage of Asala, like we attended, who are of the
Mhm.
lineage of educators and historians, you can't do that in our app. We're actually going to have a very real conversation there that's going to inform you, make you more intelligent and more powerful, and no bots can get in, and we won't allow people who are provocateurs to come onto the app and play games with our people. So that's an
Absolutely.
extremely important feature.
It is extremely important, and we are going to be talking about how we can connect hook up Rosewood with an app because
Absolutely.
yes, we need to make sure this history is known. So we need to
Yes.
advertise it through a
That's right.
map,
Appetizing. I
something,
like that.
yes, something
I
the
like
kids
that.
will be,
Appetize.
yeah, uh-huh. The
I
kids will
love it.
be interested in. And
That's
it
right.
will hold their attention, like other games they play. I
Yes.
don't know how to do it, but I know I'm talking to the right person who is going to investigate and help, uh, make Rosewood history. It's an ugly history. All of our histories are ugly. However,
Mm,
they did not hinder us from being educated. Okay.
that's
And
right.
and we know we come from enslaved people. We're on their shoulders. They were some of the smartest people that ever walked the face of this earth. Okay? Yes, they
That's correct.
were. That's why
That's
you
right.
are the genius you are.
That's
It
right.
came from
We
your
stand on their
ancestors.
shoulders.
We stand
That's
on
right.
their
It
shoulders
did.
proudly.
That's right. Like, I just want to echo something you said. There are ugly parts of history, and as a history teacher, I
Hmm.
had to make the light come on for these students, right? About things that happened centuries ago. So I feel like I'm particularly skilled at being able to do that, right? And I
Oh,
want to bring
mhm.
that to the app. Even though some of the history may be ugly, we still survived. And to
Yes.
be very honest, this country could not be settled without our input. So when you have a Ron DeSantis in Florida saying that, oh, well, slaves benefited from slavery, no, Dr. Janetta Cole, and I'm here to tell you, no, no, no. The
No.
country benefited from slaves. They benefited
Yes.
from our expertise in farming rice and cotton and so forth. They benefited from the hardiness of our bodies that worked to make this happen. And you got to remember, at the time of the Civil War, a good nearly 90% of the country's gross domestic product was attached to slavery and attached to black workers. And in
Exactly.
Florida, 48% of the population was black at the end of the Civil War. So there's a rich history of beauty. And that's what I like about what Real Rosewood is doing. You're not just talking about the massacre and leaving us with an injury of pain. You're going into who Carrier was as a teacher and
Mhm.
then what she
Yes.
did after. And then you're not like holding a grudge against current day,
Exactly.
Americans, white Americans,
No.
black Americans. We all have this responsibility that we've received this down through the line. So it's all our responsibility to make America great. You know, sorry to use that
Ex-
phrase, Mike.
but that's the truth. Okay. And
It's
no,
the
she
truth.
did not. After the Rosewood massacre, okay, she went to Jacksonville. She worked there for a doctor. His wife, she hated it because it was domestic work. She was a teacher. They never knew she was a teacher. She took care of their kids, raised their 4 kids, cooked, did whatever she had to do for them. But, back in 1940, 40-ish, she left her husband, moved back to Archer, broke, no money,
Mm,
and she read a newspaper, or she heard that there was a vacancy in Levy County, Gulf
mm,
Hammock, 6 miles from Rosewood, a principalship.
mm,
She went to Levy County, found the sheriff, Sheriff Bob Walker. I'll give him credit. Okay, he saved the people's lives in Rosewood too. He worked, my mom said,
wow.
96 hours straight to to get them out of Rosewood alive. But she needed a job. She went to him. Mom said when he saw her, he almost passed out because he was still afraid for her and for himself, because they fired him a year or two after because he
Mm,
assisted the blacks to safety. He said to her very harshly, "Gussie, what are you doing here?" She
mm,
looked at him and she said, "I'm broke. I need money. And there is a vacancy, a principal's vacancy in Gulf Hammock. You are the only person alive who can vouch for me, who can write
mm.
a letter of reference for me to get that job." He
Yeah.
said, "Get out of here. Get in your car and get out of here. I'll see you in a few days." In a few
Mm,
days, like 2 or 3 days, he brought to her Archer home, where she was living back with her parents, an emergency certificate for a principalship. Her mom had died. Her father and my mom thought she was crazy
mm.
because she had was run out of Levy County. Why did she want to go back? But she did not give up, and that's who we are. We
That's right.
continue.
The-
You,
that's so right. And that history is not told, like with the Real Rosewood Foundation, to cover the after effect. Like I had no idea that she and someone like Bob Walker were actually persecuted by the conspirators for
oh
many
yes,
years after Rosewood, so as not to tell the story. And that is amazing. That shows you how the usage and misuse of information harms the people if you can keep things under a hat. And I'm so thankful for the Real Rosewood Foundation for bringing things out and having these conversations. How I would use that in the app, I would do something like, today you need to have the spirit of Gussie Carrier, right? And then
yes,
give a tidbit of her story. So a young
yes.
folk goes, "Ooh, who's Gussie? I need to have that spirit. Why? Because I need you to go down and pull that ballot, or I need you to speak up at this, etc." And they will understand the connection to the spirit, the triumph of Gussie,
Oh,
right? So
okay.
those are the way that we use characters, or bringing in music, or little tidbits, little poetry, just a little bit to whet the appetite. So the app will serve those things and then attach them to an action. Yep,
I will send you a
absolutely.
couple of photos of her. Will
Oh,
that help? Yes, it
absolutely,
will.
absolutely.
Yes,
And
yes.
once we're going to build the architecture of the app this quarter, and then once that's done, I'll be able to serve it those pictures, those quotes that we might choose out of
Okay.
history from a historical figure like Gussie. Absolutely, that's what we want to do, is make it real, and then when the people see it, they will know how real it is.
Okay. Will
Absolutely.
you put your website address up so people can get to you? What is your website address?
Sure. So the one that I am a tech company owner. So my primary website has a lot to do with tech and biotech, and that's kind of my core business. I built the app last year when my classmate Stacey Abrams was running for governor here in Georgia. So right now
Oh,
we're using these two addresses, one to give you information and then one to see the actual mock app. You
okay,
can always contact me by
okay,
email. I'll give you that, C Burlock, that's CBURLOCK at STEM Reps.
okay.
So STEM reps, reps.com. Phone number 770-940-6443. You'll get directly to me. And by any of these means, you can contact us. We're on social media as well. If you look at anywhere at STEM Reps, STEMREPS,
Perfect.
you'll get directly to me. So
Perfect. And thank you. And by the way, my website address is rosewoodflorida.com. www.rosewoodflorida.com. If any of my listeners would like to donate to the foundation or to the museum or to scholarship, we would appreciate it. But it has been
yes,
wonderful talking to you, and I look forward to working with you, making those Rosewood apps, okay? Because Rosewood is
that's
on
right.
my mind. And
And
thank you
and I'm
so
using that appetize. Appetize.
not advertise, appetize. Okay.
That's right. Appetize.
I like that.
Yep. From Queen
All
Lizzie
right.
herself.
Okay. I am continuously humbled, honored, and blessed to meet people daily and invite them to join in peace building, healing, and reconciliation through learning about the
Yes.
history of Rosewood. That will wrap up today's episode. I am Queen Lizzie. Until next time, goodbye. This is my story, and I'm sticking to it. Goodbye, Mr. Cal.